Well, I decided here to do a nice update video and kind of a how-to video on these plugs, since a few people have asked me the difficulty level. Just basically not a step-by-step, but a this is what you do kind of thing. And just for the information and update on this truck here, it has been about a year and a half and 30,000 kilometers since this vehicle had the check engine light on and the misfire. So I'm at just under 115,000 kilometers now. It's otherwise been generally trouble-free. Motor-wise, it's been fine. It's been running well. But I decided to do a set of plugs and an air filter. Just they're fairly inexpensive, and I know they don't seem to really last, the spark plugs on these vehicles, but maybe they do. I'm gonna pull these out here and just see what the condition of them looks like and see how much longer I can estimate I would have been able to get out of them. I would have hoped at least 60,000 kilometers, double what I have on them now, which is what I got out of the factory ones originally. But let's pull her into the garage here and take a look. Straightforward. You're gonna have to pull your oil cap off for a second. And this will just lift up and pull forward. Doesn't get much easier than that. Put your oil cap back on so no bad falls in there. And before I do anything, I'm gonna steam her off the top of this engine just to clean it all up, because there's quite a bit of dust under here. I got a little steamer action on there and cleaned off some of the dirt. Look a little closer, I didn't do that great of a job, but I'll get back in here probably again afterwards and give it one more steam. Just down in here, get rid of this oil and dirt. Start on the driver's side here, pretty straightforward. You have this cover here. I don't know if it's for sound or whatnot, sitting on the high pressure fuel pump. So to take that off, and there's a couple things here you'll have to remove on this side. If yours is a 2011, 2012 with a high pressure fuel pump here, actually I think they're all right here on them, but I can only speak for those 2 years because those are the ones that went without any changes. So you'll unplug the high pressure fuel pump, the clip on the bottom on this model. Then that gets you you access to this coil pack, this one, and then over here we got a small tube. It has a clip on it on the back. Pull this way on this clip and pull straight out on this tube, and that'll get this tube off of here and allow you to just gently rotate it out of the way so you have access to this one. So then that's it. That's pretty much all you got to do. You can see from a previous plug change, this red clip is missing. Those things are a real pain in the ass. But you can, a lot of times, if it's not too cold, you can just grab on the bottom of them, pull them down, and they go into like a down lock position like I've already done to this one. And then you just push down on this gray part here and give it a wiggle and it should pop out. It's gonna be kind of hard holding the camera and doing it, but they do come out. So I'm a little more stubborn, there we go. And obviously you want to pull on the connector, not the wire itself, because you don't want to break the wires out of the back of the connector. And there are 3 wires on each connector. So we'll go ahead and unplug them and start removing the coil packs. So once the coil pack bolts are removed on these 3 on the driver's side, they're just 8mm. You can just grab these packs, wiggle them back and forth, and pull them out. You probably want to shine a light in the end and check and make sure that you don't see any corrosion or anything on the contact, which is basically a spring. And if you do, you should replace the boots and the springs. And I'll pull all 3 of these right out, nice, gentle. And then we have access to the spark plug holes. Usually these are sealed pretty good, but if you shine a light down here and you see any dirt in there, blow it out with compressed air before you take them out to keep that dirt out of your engine. So just as I thought, they definitely show some signs of wear, but not bad. I wonder if it'll focus. Yeah, it does. Like, are still totally usable, probably for another 30,000 kilometers, which is already better than those aftermarket plugs I had in it that were rated for it. Now, they were NGKs I had in there last time. If you look at my first video, it'll probably tell you the model number of them. And I'm not sure what was going on there, but clearly these factory Ford ones are a little better because it's about the same amount of kilometers that the NGKs lasted, and these are in a lot better shape. I've only pulled 3 right now. If I run into anything weird on the other side, I'll tell you. I don't think I will because the truck ran fine. Now, measuring them though, they are on just outside of spec on the gap. So, you know, like it probably wouldn't be a bad idea if you were careful not to touch that tip. You could re-gap these by pushing on the end and reinstall them and run them for, you know, quite a bit longer. I know the gap is pretty important to these engines. Oh, why won't this focus? But just so you know that the new ones that I'm putting in are the same part number again, and I'm going to do it again, and I'll keep this video updated if something else happens. Okay, so I got this side done. The spark plugs themselves get torqued to 7.2 to 14.4 foot-pounds. All 3 of them. You go ahead and reinstall your coil packs, put your plugs back on. They'll stay in the same area. They can't be mixed up. Twist this back around. This just pushes back on, and make sure you plug in your high pressure fuel pump again and tighten down your 8mm bolts on the coil packs. And just as a reference, these are just standard 5/8 spark plug wrench with an extension. It's about the extension size you need. And you can get down there and get all of them pretty easily. Now that's one side done. I'm just gonna put the cover back on the high pressure fuel pump, and that was about, I don't know, 5 to 8 minutes or so to do that one side, including recording. So it's pretty damn easy. So we'll go ahead and do the other side now. Now this side's even easier to do. You can see there's access to all of them. In some cases you have to gently push away a line, but there's nothing you actually have to unclip or disconnect besides taking the coil packs and unplugging them. And then a note on these connectors, I have another one here with a broken the broken red locking tab. These will still lock in firmly into the coil without that red tab. They're fairly breakable, and when I did mine last time, the truck was broken and wouldn't run right, and I just changed them outside in my driveway in the winter. It was cold and the tab snapped. Usually you won't break those tabs taking them off, but if you do, don't be too concerned because they still hold them on. That's just those just go in there to lock this from accidentally being pushed, but I couldn't see them ever coming off on their own, so you'd be okay there. And also it's not like it's a major safety issue like a wheel falling off or something like that, but they do still clip on, and even without the red tab, they're still a bit of a pain to get off those coils. So that's that. It's all done. Doesn't take very long, you know, under half an hour anyway. If you aren't taking your time too terribly and get it all done. Now the only thing I want to show you here now is, again, this is the same spark plug number I used last time. SP. There we go. SP534 Motorcraft plug. That's not the same one that was used the first 2 times they were changing this truck, so I'm gonna go with, there was some big improvements made to this particular plug for this engine, and this is obviously the one you want to be running under most conditions because those look pretty good. And you know, did they have to be replaced? No, I bought them when I bought the air filter there a little while ago, and I wanted to do a follow-up video, and I figured if I'm taking them out, I'm going to be putting new ones back in because they're only the air filter, OEM Motorcraft air filter, and the plugs were like $40. So I figured I would do it all if I'm taking them out and inspecting them with a follow-up video, and also kind of show the guys, a few people have asked how difficult they are to change, just so you could see what's involved, which is pretty much nothing. They're incredibly easy to change. So there you have it. About 30,000 kilometers, maybe just over 30,000 kilometers on a set of Ecoboost plugs. You know, The plugs show a little bit of sign of wear, but basically they were probably just broken in, so I would imagine they would have gone quite a bit longer. Hell of a lot longer than I got out of my previous replacements. So, you know, if you have an issue with your Ecoboost with spark plugs, I would recommend running these plugs from the dealer. They seem to hold up the best to the conditions inside the engine.